Hello gamers, and welcome back to another episode of Solo Spelunking, and this will be a Solo Spelunking table talk, so no gameplay, a product showcase. And of course today I want to show you my book, Sensitive Data. It is my first book that I wrote. I don't know if it'll be my last, but it's definitely my first. And this is a space opera novel set in the outer fringe of an oppressed galaxy. And those of you who have followed this channel for a while, you know of course that this is based on a Star Wars campaign that I played, and this is the first season of my ongoing that is now basically come to a conclusion with its fourth season of my Star Wars campaign, Adventures in the Kelder Sector, featuring Nash Duncan and Raya Cloud Shadow. And this book details their first meeting and the events of their first mission together, loosely or mainly based on the events of the first season of Adventures in the Kelder Sector. So if you like that season and you like these characters and you want to get to know these characters a little closer or deeper or more, read this book. You can get it on all major Amazon marketplaces. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can get it for free because it's also in the Kindle Unlimited program. You can also buy it as an ebook. Then it is slightly cheaper. And so today I want to talk to you a little bit about this book and read you a small excerpt. So I already read a small excerpt when I announced this project, but then the book wasn't done yet. So I will give you another glimpse into this book in this video. So let's start, of course, with the back cover, which describes what is happening here. So when an Eldridian science vessel goes dark at the edge of the Kelder Nebula, it falls to the Eldridian shadow huntress Raya Cloud Shadow to investigate and retrieve the vessel's data core, only to discover that it has been stolen by marauders. Teaming up with Nash Duncan, a human scoundrel, smuggler, gambler, and hotshot flyer for hire, the unlikely pair embarks on a dangerous journey into the crime-infested underworld of Calcareous Prime to recover the data core before the secret of the Eldridian people is revealed. Alright, so of course, I transferred this into a generic space opera setting for obvious reasons, but it doesn't really matter because in the first season, the Star Wars galaxy really was only the backdrop. The adventure itself, we dealt with criminal elements in the underworld, so it doesn't really hurt the story a bit. And let me read the preface here also, because I want to give a shout out here again to Mage Hammer from Mage Hammer's Game Table, because he was the one, and I've said it many times, that pushed me over the edge to finally write my own book. And I tell you all about it here in this preface. So at the innocent age of 11, I got sucked into the world of pen and paper role-playing games. I still remember my first session vividly. It was the year 1988, and my two older cousins were visiting. One of them was 12, his older brother 13. It was summer break from school, and they had two games with them. Hero Quest, the version from the 80s, obviously, and the core set for the main German role-playing game called Das Schwarze Auge. I think The Dark Eye is the English translation. Today in its 5th edition and also available in English. My aunt took on the role of the Dungeon Master and ran the starter adventure for the three of us. That was the first step into a larger world for me. I have stayed true to the hobby to this day and have not only played but also read a great many fantasy and sci-fi novels. Naturally, I reached a point several times where I caught myself thinking about writing a book of my own. I surely had enough stories to tell from years of gaming, and I was even encouraged to do so. From friends and family, obviously, they always kept saying, "You should write a book." But I hadn't looked into self-publishing at the time, and I figured I would never get anything published anyway. So I never did, up until today. the decisive moment came with the release of a video by a YouTube friend of mine, Magehammer, from the Magehammer's Game Table channel. He released a video in which he talked about his first self-published book, which you should get, by the way, if you like classic old school fantasy. And that was the day I decided to finally write one myself. And what you hold in your hands now is that book. A story inspired by a solo campaign I played, featuring my two favorite characters and telling the events of their first mission together. It is, by all means, the work of an amateur, written in a second language. But it's a labor of love, and I enjoyed every step of this writing journey. So buckle up and embark on a space opera adventure. So that's the preface, and now I want to read you a small excerpt so that you can get a little taste of the book. And it does feature, I would say, mild violence in the combat descriptions, as you will see. So the suggested reading age I put into Amazon in the setup is 14 years. It's not really rated R, I would say, but it features some depiction of violence in the combat descriptions. And I'm going to read you a scene. So this scene is when Nesh and Raya first, so they are back from the Calder Nebula. Raya has learned that the data core has been stolen, and now they embark on their quest, and they enter the city of Calcareous Prime from the starport. So the starport is a little bit outside, and you need to take a monorail to get to the city. And it's, of course, a wretched, lawless hive of scum and villainy, no law, gangs and everything. And so this is the setup. And and they're leaving now. So let's go. Raya's voice brought him back to the here and now. He nodded, and they headed for the exit ramp and left the rust bucket. As they made their way to the monorail terminal through the corridors of the spaceport concourse, they noticed that the overall decay of law, order, and society on this planet had not stopped at the spaceport premises. The lights illuminating the corridors were partially broken and flickered. The walls were sprayed with graffiti depicting the symbols of different gangs. Smelly puddles of unidentifiable liquids had formed in some parts of the hallways. It smelled of garbage mixed with chemicals. Nash even noticed some blast points in a wall, an indication of a recent firefight in these hallways. They took a final turn into a corridor that led to the monorail terminal as two bulky individuals who had been leaning against the wall stepped into the middle of the corridor and blocked their path. One of them was a large and bulky humanoid with a lizard-like appearance. Trandoshan. He had yellow reptilian eyes and needle-sharp teeth. The other individual was a bald male human with half his face inked with a vicious-looking tribal tattoo. Both of them held steel batons in their fists. "New arrivals, I presume," the bald human said. His voice had an unpleasant sound to it. His tone was threatening. "To traverse this area and enter the monorail terminal, you need a hall pass," he continued. "Let me guess," Nesh cut in. "We need to buy this hall pass from you." "Ha! Looks like we've got a smart one here, Kursk," the bald man said in the direction of the humanoid lizard next to him. "You got it, pal. It's 500 per individual. That'll be 1,500 for the two of you." "I think you got your math wrong," Nesh replied. "In my book, that adds up to 750. Raya slowly turned her head to Nesh. "We will not give these creatures a single credit," Raya said in a low voice that carried a foreboding chill with it. "Who asked you, woman?" the bald man barked. "You better keep quiet while the adults talk." That was the last thing he said. Raya focused her mind and channeled her psionic energy into every fiber of her toned muscles. She sprang into action with lightning speed, leaping sideways against the corridor wall to use it to propel herself forward and upward. In that same motion, she drew her sonic dagger from an underarm sheath. Still in the air, she slit the bald man's throat with a precise cut, the vibrating blade cutting through muscle and tendon with no effort. When she landed, she had already changed the grip on her dagger, holding it in her other hand now, the hand closer to the reptilian, who was slightly behind her and to her left, his back facing her. She brought the blade up and pierced the area of the body where most humanoids have their kidney and liver-like organs. As she sensed the blade entering the body, she tilted it slightly upward and thrust to also pierce the lizard's lungs. She didn't even give them the courtesy of turning around to watch them die as they fell to the ground, forming puddles of dark red blood. Nash stared at the scene in disbelief. At his feet, the two individuals lay dead, or were in the process of dying. Dark red blood ran from their fatal wounds onto the starport corridor floor. A couple of steps ahead of him, on the other side of the dead bodies, was Raya, just standing there in her hooded cloak, the blood-dripping sonic dagger still in hand. "Damn it, Raya, what the hell?" he started. "Keep your voice down," she hissed. "If you want to say something, say it later. Now we need to leave the scene and get to the monorail." With that, she continued down the corridor. Nash couldn't argue with that and followed. Thankfully, the corridors of the starport were pretty deserted at this hour. They took the next monorail downtown. None of them spoke during the short trip. As they exited the monorail and left the station, Nash spoke. "I think we need to have a little discussion about how we want to go about this." All right, so just a small excerpt so that you can get a taste of it. So yeah, if you want to see how this story ends, and yeah, I encourage you, or would be very happy if you buy this book. I can just say it was a very, very nice feeling writing the last sentence of this book and holding this product in my hand now. So yeah, that's it. Just a little overview. Sensitive Data, my first space opera novel, set in the outer fringe of an oppressed galaxy, featuring Nash Duncan and Raya Cloud Shadow. Yeah, so pick it up, and yeah, as always, thank you for watching, and please do consider subscribing to the channel, and yeah, I will see all of you hopefully in the next video. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye bye.